Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. So lately there's been some stories about Donald Trump Jr. So apparently he met with a Russian attorney, and the purpose of that meeting was to gather negative and damaging information about Hillary Clinton. So he meets with this attorney who's connected with the Russian government, according to the New York Times. And it wasn't just Donald Trump Jr. at this meeting. Jared Kushner was at the meeting, and also Paul Manafort was at the meeting. Both of them were prominent Trump campaign officials at the time, and Kushner is a part of the Trump administration right now. So you had these three people meet with a Russian in order to gather damaging information about Hillary Clinton. Now, this is one of the most clear examples of possible collusion between the Trump administration and the Russian government, because this attorney, again, reportedly has ties to the Kremlin. So a lot of people are talking about this. Now, the Trump administration wants us to believe that this is his first time hearing anything about this meeting. I find that hard to believe, to say the least. I mean, here you have Trump's own son, Trump's son-in-law, and Trump's campaign manager meeting with a Russian attorney in order to gather dirt on Hillary Clinton. And you're going to tell me that Trump didn't know about that? I find that hard to believe. I find it ridiculous for anybody to expect the American people to believe that Trump didn't know what was going on. And if Trump did not know about this meeting, that proves that he is incompetent. That proves that he was not on top of his campaign the way he should have been. And, you know, this comes at a time when the Trump administration is already under investigation for ties to Russia, you know, under investigation for colluding with the Russians. And it also comes at a time where you had all these people affiliated with Trump having all these ties and all these meetings and all these contacts with the Russians, despite making prior representations of not having such meetings. I mean, you even have Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, trying to establish secret back channels of communications with the Russians. Why in the world would he try to establish secret communications with the Russians if he did not have something to hide? If the Trump administration did not have something to hide? If there was no collusion or no relationship, why have a back channel of communication? Also, you had all these other Trump administration officials that had ties to the Russians. You had Michael Flynn, who made false representations about not having ties or meetings with the Russians. It later came out that he did, in fact, have ties and he had meetings with these Russians, and he was forced to resign. And this was the man that was appointed to be in charge of national security. You have Jeff Sessions, a man who said he never met with the Russians, and then later he was forced to acknowledge that he met with the Russians. You have Paul Manafort, who had all these ties and connections with the Russians and was forced to resign from his position. You have all these countless names of people in the Trump administration with ties and meetings with these Russians. And this raises all kinds of questions. I hope that the special investigator conducts a thorough investigation. And I believe that there is probably evidence of collusion. And this recent news story is a prime example of collusion. You know, and I'm sure that there is much more evidence that will be uncovered, because these people in the Trump administration and Trump himself, these people are dishonest. These people are straight up liars. And, you know, for all intents and purposes, more likely than not, you had Donald Trump and his administration, his campaign, collaborating with a foreign power to undermine the American democracy. And this fool, Donald Trump, actually proposed working with the Russians to fight and promote cybersecurity. I mean, that's like somebody going to someone who robbed their house and trying to work with the robber on setting up a security system. What kind of sense does that make? I mean, shortly after he proposed that ridiculous idea, it was shot down and roundly condemned by Republicans and Democrats. And that just speaks to like his stupidity, and it adds fuel to the fire. It adds fuel to these allegations of collusion. I mean, during the campaign, this man, Donald Trump, encouraged more cyber stalking or cyber infiltration to gather information about Hillary Clinton. You know, he talked about it openly, joked about it openly, at a time when he was already being questioned about ties with the Russians. And when you look at how he conducted himself during the G8 meetings, you know, in terms of the body language that was conveyed, Donald Trump was in a weak position. When you look at the photographs, you see him weak. You see him submissive to Putin. Putin is assertive. Putin is confident in those photos, and according to like the body language, the obvious body language. I mean, what we probably have now is a Russian puppet in the White House. A Russian Manchurian candidate in the White House. Putin's little bitch in the White House. That's what we have. And, you know, I look forward to the day when Donald Trump is impeached. You know, I hope that he is impeached, because the American people deserve better than that. And all those fools that voted for this damn puppet need to be ashamed of themselves. This man ran on making America first, making America great again, and all that kind of stuff. How is America going to be great when a damn Russian puppet, a Russian agent, is the president of the United States? How is that putting America first when, you know, there was already articles about how the Russians possibly have a dossier on Donald Trump. Evidence or information that they can hang over his head to influence him and control him. So those are my thoughts about this situation. Tell me what y'all think. Please rate, comment, and subscribe. Peace.